Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Spiritual sex and candy, yeah.
Hey, sensual souls. Welcome to Spiritual Sex and Candy. I am Heather, your Shamanic Sweetener, and we, of course, have our Freedom Jedi, JP Adkins. Hi, JP.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Heather. It's so
How are
nice
you
to see
tonight?
you.
It's so
I
nice to
am.
see you. I don't
We
think
haven't
I've
been
talked to
talking as
you
much
since the
this week.
last podcast.
Oh, yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, I don't think we've talked in like a week.
Yeah, I have been busy as all get out and getting ready. I leave in 2 weeks.
He's ignoring me. Let's be honest.
I am. I'm ignoring her, because that's what I do. I ignore Heather. Um, Messenger works two ways, baby. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. We had. I really have been absolutely busy between. We have a new thing going on with one of my clients. I'm doing like absolute crazy stuff around the RV, and I'm dating, so it's weird.
Why do you always date is like right
Right as I
before
leave,
you're getting ready to leave, and then you're like, I'm gonna try to date someone.
I didn't try it too. This was not planned whatsoever. This literally was. I went to the bondage club party, hit it off with somebody, went and had a session with him, and really hit it off. We've kind of just been talking ever since. Like, he's really cool. He's really
Good.
cool.
I'm glad. I'm just giving you shit.
Yeah,
I don't care. I'm
you
glad.
know,
I'm happy for you because it needs to happen because I have a non-existent date.
it is.
Dating life, and yeah, yeah. There's a reason because I get conversations like I signed up for a dating app this week. Before we get into things, here's a little funny story. Let me
Hey,
give our trigger
wait.
warning.
Yep.
We are a trigger warning. We are going to talk about all kinds of things. Obviously, it's in our name, spiritual sex and candy. Jeff is already talking about bondage clubs, which reminds me of this conversation that I had. So if you were easily offended, please see your way out now because we're going to talk. We could talk about anything, and we probably will. So with that being said, we are actually on episode 26, the Great Reboot, or the Great Reset. Sorry, rebooting your narrative, and we're going to talk about how that starts and all of those things. But first, so there's a plus size dating app. I'm not going to say the name of it, and I'm a plus size girl, and so it kept coming up on my news feed, and a friend of mine was like, why is this all of a sudden showing up all the time? And she goes, well, maybe it's a message from the universe. I hate when people use my words back to me. She's like, well, maybe it's a message from the universe that now that you've moved that you should go and try it out, and I was like, I don't know. I'm not, because I'm really not at a, I got shit I need to do. So, to add that into it, and it's really hard because, I don't have a vehicle. So, it's not like I could be like, yeah, I'll meet you somewhere. Anyway, so this guy hits me up. We start kind of chatting. And when I say this, I mean, we had one conversation. And in the conversation, he asked me, have you had any luck on the app? Have you met anyone? And I was like, I've literally been on here since yesterday. So the answer is no. And then he tells me, the first thing he wants to tell me is that he got invited to what he referred to was a swingers club. And proceeded to tell me where it was. He asked me where I was. in Florida in comparison to where he is. He's in Orlando. And then he was like, "Oh, you're not far from this place." And he like gave me the name of the place, told me that he went, which, you know, everybody fucks funny to somebody. I don't give two shits that he went. But he's like, "Yeah, I went for like 2 hours and just sat back and observed." And I was like, "Oh, well, I mean, I guess it's good to know where one is in case I don't know, I ever wanted to get, not that I'm going to do that, but, and then I said, I said, "Yeah, that's not really my thing." And he goes, "Mine either. I don't like to share my woman. So that's good to know." And I'm like, "Then why did you go?" was my thought. But I said to him, "Well, this is an interesting way to start out a conversation with someone." He goes, "Well, I was just telling you about my experience." And I go, "Well, you might not want to lead with that." Like, that probably
Maybe.
should not be the first thing that you talk to a woman about, especially if you're not into that. Like, if you're not into it, then why would you even bring that experience up? Other than, I had this really crazy experience and I was invited to go do something that I normally wouldn't do, but that is not what the conversation was. He told me where it was located.
Mm-hmm.
Which, by the way, I have no fucking clue where this place is. I don't know where the cross sections are that he told me they were, because I could barely get out of my fucking neighborhood.
Right.
Because I don't drive anywhere. When we go someplace, I'm not the one driving. So, and people wonder why I don't date. That is why, right there.
I totally understand. You know, and it was funny because I was talking to my person who is working on getting to be more popular in the kink community, the gay kink community.
Okay.
And giving him some pointers of why that's not happening for him because of a couple things, you know. And it's all about controlling your narrative and having that. So it's kind of funny that we're talking about that today, and you're talking about that too. See, that conversation didn't work because
Right.
he didn't control that narrative, and then tried to backpedal, which made him look even more stupid. Because, you know, he could have just said, "Hey, look, this is kind of one of those things," and you could have said, "Yes, I'm into it. No, I'm not," or "I'm into it sometimes, but not at my first date." Like, you know,
Right.
there could have been a whole different conversation around there.
And it
But that
probably
wasn't the
should not have been the
conversation.
first thing that he told
And
me.
my right, correct. And that's the problem, is that people have this issue about what to share, oversharing, how that all works. And I have
Yeah.
a really easy way for you guys to do your first messages that works like 80% of the time. Okay? 80% of the time. "Hey, how's it going? I saw you here, and I really liked your smile," or "I really liked your eyes," or "I really liked what you said on your profile," or "I really liked whatever, and thought I would say hi.
Right.
How are you doing today?"
Yeah, that's not what I get.
And honestly and truly, people are either going to say, "What the fuck, man?" They might block you. Like, you're going to get an answer of some sort, right? They're going to block you, they're going to ignore you, or they're going to message you, and it'll be something. Or
Right.
be absolutely stupid direct.
Okay,
"Hey, man, you want a
so-
blowjob?"
Okay, so I get where you're coming from.
If
on
that's what you're
that.
looking for.
Right, if that's what you're looking for, I agree. I would rather you be upfront and say, "This is what's up. Like, I'm just looking for sex." I might be down for that, by the way. Just for the record. Like, I might be down for that because, I don't know, a good hookup might do me good at this point. Jeff keeps telling me that that's what I need to do, is just get it out of the way and do it. But the
Exactly.
other side of that is, for me, and it's my own issue, I know it's my issue, is being objectified right away. right? So I don't want the first thing that they tell me to be like, so then I had another gentleman who said hi to me and, you know, and stuff. And then he sent me a voice message, like an audio message. And he's like, "You're just so beautiful." La, 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 you know, whatever it was. It was very short, but it was this like luscious, you know, "Oh my God, I saw your picture and you're just so beautiful." Well, no fucking shit, you think I'm beautiful. I hope that you would think I was beautiful if you said hi to me. Like,
On this
I
app.
almost just dropped the microphone. You know, like, you, and then
You
there
just
was
dropped
no
it. It was just
conversation.
done.
I'm done, right? Like, but then there was no conversation after that. It was like, do you think just because you tell me I'm beautiful that I'm just gonna spread my legs for you? Because guess what? I get told that all the time, and that is not a egotistical thing. That is not a I'm into my. It's not even about that. But I am told I am beautiful all the fucking time. You have to give me more than that, right? The narrative has to be more than I think you're beautiful and I want to fuck you. Well,
And it
I
can
hope
start
that
there,
those
though.
two things are true because we're having a conversation on a dating site. So it's a given that that's probably what you want to do. So can we have a conversation? And so then I'm like pulling a conversation out of this guy and I'm the one asking questions and I'm like, wait a minute. Why am I trying to hold a conversation with someone who is not participating in that conversation really?
Right. Exactly. And I totally get it. I mean, I've been on I'm on the apps. I'll be honest with you guys. I'm on the apps. I'm sorry. I am. You can think whatever you want to think. We can have the discussion of how they're, where they are, and I'm very
I know
aware.
lots of people have met people on apps. There's nothing wrong with being on the app.
And you have to understand. So I spent a whole month understanding what triggers me to go on an app, why I'm on an app, what's going on the app, what I'm looking for, what I'm really looking for. Am I really hungry? Am I really, and like really analyzing
Yeah.
everything around that whole thing. So
Yeah.
when I talk to you about being on an app, trust me when I tell you, I can tell you exactly why I'm on that app, what my mission is, and why I'm really doing it, because it's probably not what you think it is, right? And that's the thing. When you have that kind of awareness, you can actually use the app for good, maybe.
Right.
Define good, but well, in a healthier way. But
Correct. Because at least going into it, you know
healthier.
a healthier way. Yeah, because then you know why you're doing it. Especially, I think for I'm not a gay man,
you can.
but gay men are more likely to just do a hookup than straight women are.
Okay.
Right? I mean that's just it.
Every night of the week.
Right.
Uh-huh.
Right. So, and I'm just to a
That's
point
why
like
there's so
I
many.
used to be.
Why there's so many straight men on sniffies.
Correct. Yeah. Right. Or
That's
straight
why there's
men
so many
who.
straight guys on sniffies.
Well, straight men. We're gonna put quotes up on the straight men because if they're looking to get their dick sucked by a dude or fuck a dude in the ass,
they're looking to get their. They're looking to get their dick sucked.
Right.
A blowjob is a blowjob. At the end of the day. So when you're
Right. And say for
separating
women,
out the sex from the love and all that kind of good stuff,
I think for women it's different too. Going down that narrative of when we have sex with a man, it's not just like you're not just like okay. No, this is true. You have to enter us and into our whole field of energy field, and we're actually allowing you inside our body. men will get a blowjob and they'll be okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
They might want more than that, but they'll pay, and they'll go pay to get a blowjob done. Like if that's really, all they're looking for. But women, it doesn't work like that. Like I've never had a guy go, "I'm just going to eat your pussy and be done." Like that's not what's happening. Right? I have not experienced that. If any of our listeners have experienced that, I want to know where you live and what you're doing to just have your pussy ate, because I need that narrative going on. You know,
I will write you a script.
but we have to there's a whole, we're bringing you into every orifice for us. And so for us, sex is very internal. And for men, I mean, all of our parts are even internal. And for men, it's very external because your parts are external.
That and we could talk about the energy fields around that too. I mean, they're still
Yeah.
merging the energies. They're still, with all the study I've done in the tantric side of that, where it really does talk about that merging those
Yeah.
energies. We can talk about all that also. But sometimes, when you're not being conscious and it is a hookup, and there is a difference between having consciousness and having this, which is one of the reasons why I'm dating somebody, because I fucked up. I was all open and had a fucking conscious whole thing and was in a space and
Right.
yeah, and I know that I know what I did. I knew exactly what I did when I did it. It's like, because I was working on being more open and really working on this. And then I end up with, I'm dating somebody in the
Right.
last month before I leave the state.
I mean, I was really I was really, really good at casual sex, which is why it has been 5 years since I've had sex. And it is because it was so casual for me that it was something I used to numb. It was a release from whatever was going on. It was a feel good. It was a dopamine hit, whatever you want to call it. And, and it was convenient. So I didn't have to emotionally be involved. And I was the one kicking you out of the bed.
Yeah.
If you were at my house, you need to go home. And I prefer to be at your house so I can get the fuck up and go home.
Huh.
Because it is what it is.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so, which I've had men go, really? One of my favorites was a police officer, because it was always come through, and it was a time limit, and we were both on a time limit. We would schedule, hey, you want to swing through? I have an hour Tuesday night or whatever, where are you working Tuesday night? Can you swing through the house real quick and, get it on, and, or that sort of thing. And it was convenient for years. I mean, some of my casual partners, I mean, they went on for a very long time. It was never more than what it was. It was like, let's just call it what it is. And even that one in particular, after years of doing this with him, off and on, at one point, he's like, I just don't believe that there's one person out there for, any one person, blah, 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 blah. And I said, really? Because when you find someone who supports you no matter what's going on, that you're really good friends with, that you're best friends with, that you have chemistry with, I said, that's the person, And I said, but you have to acknowledge that that's the person. And I said, you don't think that I don't have some, that I don't love you in some way? And of course, then he was like, whoa, 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 whoa. And I go, I didn't say I was in love with you and that I wanted to be with you. But do you think that I would be fucking you for the past 5 or 6 years if I didn't care for you in some way? Like, we're good friends. He would have a test coming up and I would message him. How did that test go? Like, obviously we had some sort of friendship and connection, or I wouldn't be calling you after 5 fucking years to come
Right.
fuck me. Like, you know what I mean? I have one now that I'm still very, very good friends with. That I know I can, I can
unless it was
call him
related
just
to
to talk to him, I mean, I know I have the good. I know I have the good.
hmm
I've had men tell me, your pussy does shit that
But
I have never experienced before. You know. But I have to change the narrative around that whole thing because I went from allowing men to, because of experiences when I was younger and being molested and unwanted, as a teenager, though it didn't get anywhere, but men attempting to, force themselves on me because I always looked older than I was. Now I look younger than I am. I kind of reversed aged there. And so I went from feeling objectified all the time by men to I'm going to objectify you. Right? So I'm going to take control of the situation. So I switched the narrative of I'm going to take control of the situation and now you're a piece of meat to me. Because as long as I view it that way, you can't make me feel like that.
makes sense.
And of course now that narrative for me has changed again, where I went, that's not what I want.
hmm
When I recognized why I was doing that and what it was doing to me, because I never felt fulfilled. I never felt truly cared for. Then I just stopped.
It's fast food.
Right.
Going on Grindr is fast food. Okay, you're gonna get that immediate need taken care of.
Yeah.
You're gonna have your chicken nuggets and they're gonna be good and you'll be happy and you'll feel full for a minute. But ultimately you'll have no energy. It has no actual nutritional value, and you're gonna be like, okay.
Right.
And either you're gonna want something else or you're gonna not want something else, and you're still not gonna be okay with it.
Yeah.
And
which this works in any area of life.
Right. We're here, and there's something that's kind of interesting though that you've said. One of the keys that people don't understand is that life really happens in two places. One is in the experience, right? So right now, we're having an experience, and we're having a shared experience, which is nice because we're both here, right?
Right.
But the other place it happens is in conversation.
Yeah.
Okay, because that moment is gone, that experience is gone, and then it's the conversation that you have about that experience, about that person, about that experience, about everything around it, about the states and all of it.
Yeah.
That is actually where life is lived.
Yes. And
so just like you were talking about with your friend that you were
right.
And the
so
secret
of experiencing
controlling
now,
that narrative, there's two secrets. One.
Go ahead. We're sharing the experience, but we're both
go ahead. You're right. You're right there.
Out of this experience.
Finish my thought.
Right, we're both going to get something different out of the experience because we're
going to have two different conversations.
From our experiences.
Right. Exactly. So we have a whole conversation that comes with us, right, into this moment. And the
Yeah.
thing about controlling narrative is how to control that, and all this between us, right? So one of the things Heather said was, "Hey, we haven't talked in a week. What's going on?"
Right.
And there really was nothing. It's only because I've been busy as all get out, and I missed meditation yesterday or yoga yesterday because I overslept. Um, that was it. Literally, that was it. So, but she had that in her. That was in her space between me and her. That's a conversation she has between me and her,
Right.
and so that's in that space. And as we're having this conversation, because she cleared that space out, we could have this conversation. That's one less thing that's there.
Right. I
Now
mean,
there's a
not that I
million
thought
other
anything
things.
was
The
wrong.
dishes are there. The
Right.
right, but you didn't know, and so things are in the background. It's not that, and it could be anything. Your experience could be anything. I'm just like putting things there because in my
Right.
experience, like as you said, I'm like, did that on purpose? Did I like? Was it on purpose? What happened? Why didn't I talk to her? That's
Was
unusual
she
for
a
me and
super
Heather,
bitch to me that I
right?
don't
Like,
remember?
right? Like, am I still a little upset? Okay, let me look and get it cleared out so that we can have this conversation. That was
Right.
my thought. Like, 20 seconds tops, right? So I can clear it out. No, what happened was I've been busy. Like,
Right.
it's really truly
Which is
have been
funny
busy.
because
I
my
got
narrative
a
in
new
my
water
mind
heater in.
had nothing to
I've
do with
gotten
that.
my solar
Like,
stuff has been crazy. Right. Uh-huh.
yeah.
And you didn't have it, right? And there wasn't, and also it wasn't there. Like, there was nothing for me there. I was like, no, I'm not. No, it really was. I was busy. I can't. But I double checked. Hey, what do I need to clear up? And that's one of the ways to control your narrative. Double
Yeah.
check what's there. Just what comes up. What's the conversation? Heather told me that something was, we haven't talked in a week. The first thought I had was, really? And then I'm like, yeah. And then why? What's the next thing? Is there something there that I need to say? And have the conversation and clear it up.
Which so often we do not
Acknowledge.
do.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So that's the other thing is we create a narrative in our mind about something, and then we're afraid to have a conversation about it because we've already gone through a whole slot of our own insecurities in that time frame. So like this last week, I unless you contacted me, I was not reaching out to people. I've been in a lot
Mm-hmm.
of pain. I have not felt well. The energies have been super intense on so many different levels, um, and like I said, I've been in a lot of pain. I haven't been overly productive, which that creates for me a place of I feel like I'm not doing anything. I've been given this beautiful opportunity to come to some place where I have a space to be able to create and and I'm very safe where I'm at and that sort of thing. But that's not the narrative that was going on in my head, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I spent several days where when I'm in a lot of pain, I'm not productive when I'm in pain. I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
And suffering from a chronic illness where I'm in pain a lot and I can work through a lot of the pain. If I don't have something like this right now that I am obligated to do, nothing gets done, right? So, like, this is an obligation
Mm-hmm.
that I'm not going to miss, regardless of how. I have to be super fucking sick, and you all know that because the first very episode, I was out of the hospital for 24 hours and I did the fucking first episode of this show. But in my head I have this narrative because I'm
Right.
staying with a friend and like I haven't done the dishes and I didn't really want to cook over the weekend and I kind of forced myself to and I was down and because there is some depression that goes along with not feeling well all the time and being in chronic pain um and no, I
Mm-hmm.
don't think my life is terrible. It's not that kind. If you don't suffer from chronic pain, you do not understand that part, you know, the depression that comes along with that. And so her and I had a conversation last night where I said, we were just talking, and I said, in my mind, this is what I say to myself is, she's given me this opportunity. I feel like I'm not doing anything for days on end. I don't feel good. And she goes, I just worry when you don't feel good because I don't want you to not feel good. Like, and she goes, I could tell that your energy was down. I could tell that you weren't well.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I'm worried about. Like, I don't care that you didn't do the dishes. If you feel you don't want to cook one night or you're not up to it,
Right.
just say you're not up to it. You know what I mean? And I'm like, I feel that that's something that I should do because I've been given this opportunity. It's a narrative that I had in my head that I had to go, not that I really thought that she thought those things, but that's what I was telling myself. You know? And then we had a conversation about it, and she was like, I don't think
Because
that's all.
you thought those things.
Right. I thought those things. Right.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And then I'm like, is she going to get to a point? I've been here for 2 months. This is not like I've been here for 5 years and I'm sitting on my ass. Like, you know, but I'm like,
Right.
why don't I have more stuff done? You know, I've published a fucking journal since I've been here. And, you know what I mean?
Right. Right. You know, and we forget all those things that we accomplish too.
Right.
You know, which is why journaling is so important. It really is important. And Heather's journal is amazing, guys. Check it out. It really is really cool. I got my copy. It's sitting over there.
Plug the journal. Right.
Plug the journal. Plug the journal. Plug it down. Shameless plug. But when we aren't controlling our narrative, we're allowing all those things to happen and all those things to be there. And the narrative isn't necessarily just with you, right? Sometimes you have to have that conversation and say, hey, this is what's there. Heather and I had a conversation last week. I was kind of upset. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I was, and I had to have that conversation. I had to have time and space to heal heal my thoughts so I didn't spew all the triggers that I had.
Right.
Right? Because it was a trigger and she's not responsible for my triggers. And then I had to deal with what actually happened too.
Right.
So so we got to have that conversation. It wasn't easy,
Right.
but it's still, I think it made us stronger and our friendship stronger. And then we don't talk for a week, but that's a whole other story.
Which, to be honest, I did not even correlate the two together. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
I was like, we were good. Like, I didn't worry about it. I just thought, that's odd. We have it. Because, to be honest, I didn't even really think about it until we were doing this. And then I was like...
You said it, and I was like... Right. You said that, and I went... Oh, no, we haven't. Okay. Let's... Yeah. So... It really was a shock.
I was talking to a friend earlier about that same thing of, it doesn't have to be about sex or, a conversation between people. But she's struggling she was with someone for 15 years and, they have now been, not together for, I don't know, a little over a year. I'm not sure the time frame. I mean, it's been a decent amount of time, but not an overly, But she's also gone through a bunch of other things in this time. So it's not just like she broke up and then her life is kind of going on and, there's so many other factors in it. And so she has these moments where she is lonely and she wants someone to be there. And then she says that she misses him. Mm-hmm. Right. And so the conversation was, okay, it's time to change the narrative in that because it's not that you miss him specifically. That is just the easiest person to go to say that you miss, right? Because you were together for so long that he is automatically where you want to go to. But no, what you miss is having a companion, having someone to go do things with, having someone that you, when your anxiety was bad, was there to kind of be, to lean on. It's not him that you miss. It is that you miss someone being there, and it's okay to be lonely. but you need to change that narrative from, I hate that I miss him. Because no, what you miss is
Mm-hmm.
someone to go do something with on Sundays, because that was their day that they went and did stuff. So that's still kind of hard for her,
Mm-hmm.
because then on Sundays she's not doing anything, and like that sort of thing. And she was like, oh, yeah, you know. And when we start to create a different narrative, it is not fucking easy. When you're going through a healing process and you are changing your life and you are learning where your triggers are, what triggers you, and why you are triggered. Because it's not just acknowledging, oh, I'm triggered in this moment, right? It is, why did that
Right.
trigger me? And what is my narrative around that? So that I can change that narrative
Mm-hmm.
around that situation. What do I want the narrative to be?
Yeah. And
Right?
the sooner you can find that, the better.
Yeah.
Now, like I said, last weekend, it took me 4 days.
Yeah.
Started on Friday. Monday, I was like, kind of okay. Tuesday, I had a meeting with my coach to make sure I was okay to be on the podcast. To get it cleared up. Like, wait, let me one more last little. By then, I was pretty okay. It was like, all right, cool, but I had to go through all the spaces, and you have to go through all the spaces, and sometimes the spaces here and there. Okay, cool, and sometimes the space takes you down a spiral that you're like, all right, and sometimes you have to feel the feelings. Sometimes you have to. Oh, most often, you have to feel the feelings to really heal the feelings and get to
Yeah,
the root
because
of
it's
it.
a feeling that you've buried before,
Mm-hmm.
which is why it's a trigger now.
Right. Right. And when they talk about the mom, your mom triggers you so much because she built those triggers. Literally, probably from scratch. Like
Right.
a lot of them come from parental things. They happen in early childhood.
Yeah.
And then when you start feeling and noticing and dealing with all that, it shows up.
Yeah, with my clients, that's the biggest. I mean, that's actually the hugest thing that I work on with my clients.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and my whole program is designed to find the why behind the behavior that you're doing, right?
Yeah.
That's another thing that I had a conversation with my friend about is, where in your life, we make decisions in the moment, with a filter of stuff that has happened to us in the past, right? And so until you become self aware and you start that healing process and you start working on why, let's use relationships, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was a people pleaser in my relationships. I was, whatever you want. We could do, I'll do it
Mm-hmm.
your way. I will suck your dick every night. I don't, whatever. Like, um,
I need to find one
because
of
just to
those.
have the companionship. And it was, I didn't want to fight. I didn't want to have conflict. Why? Because growing up, I walked on eggshells around my dad all the time because he was a ticking time bomb and you never
Mm-hmm.
knew what he was going to blow up about, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even things that were out of our control, were our fault. And why did you fucking do that? Or things that he didn't teach us. And so, I always looked for that in the men that I was with. I was always trying to fix them. So I was like, I will believe in you and all of your dreams and all of your, and yes, I'll support you while you go do all that stuff, and getting no support back
Mm-hmm.
in my own things because my dad was never there.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big thing that's been actually brought up a couple times in conversations of lately, is, my dad worked all the time. My mom was sick. So when he had time off, it was, he always saved time for her and in case something happened with her. And, one of the one time that he went to something my senior year for me, and I was getting an award, and it was for JROTC, and yes, believe it or not, I was actually very high ranking by my senior year, um, and and stuff. And then he never went to anything, and I did lots of activities. And then instead of just saying to me, I'm really proud of you for getting that ribbon and, that medal, he went, yeah, I missed it. I was in the bathroom. I didn't even see you get it. I was like, what? Like, are you fucking kidding me right now? Like, it broke my 18-year-old heart of like, this is the one time that you came to something. And the look on my mom's face was like, did you just say that to her? Because the one thing he went to, he couldn't even bullshit and say, I'm just really proud of you for doing that. That's awesome. Let me see it. I mean, he could have played that off in so many ways. And his response was, yeah, I missed it. I had to go to the bathroom. Ew. So then I'm always
And what
looking
did you
for
make that mean?
that approval in men. Like that, huh? What'd you say?
No, I was like, what did you make that mean?
Right. Well, so then it was
That
that,
he wasn't there.
like,
What did that you
I
make that
want the
mean?
approval of a man. I want someone to say they're proud of me and encourage me to do the things that I still want that. I still want that. Because I was that for everyone I've ever been with, whether I was just fucking them or I was in a relationship with them. It was, what dreams do you have and what do you want to make happen? And I'm your biggest fucking fan. I'm your biggest fan. And I talked to a guy a couple years ago that I went to high school with. And when I told him what I wanted to do, he literally said to me, well, I want to open a bar. And I said, well, good luck with that. But that's not something I'm interested in. So, like, right on for you. That's great for you. Go do that. Like, awesome. And he's like, well, what? You can't wait 5 years and us travel together, like, and build this bar and blah, 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 blah. Like, literally said those things to me. And I said, no, I'm not doing that.
Right.
Because I don't want to be tied to a bar. I think that is fucking amazing for you. But you're not going to tell me to put my own things on hold for you to follow a dream that you're not even doing right now.
Right.
It would have been different if he owned a bar already. And by the way, he is still doing the same job he did when we were talking 3 fucking years ago. Just FYI. And is no step closer to, 4 years ago. He's no step closer to owning a bar. And he wants to own a bar in Vegas.
Right.
That is a really dumb idea. By the way, unless you have a really great fucking... You have to have an exquisite bar in Vegas to make it successful. Because there's literally a bar.
Yeah, Vegas is
every fucking
not
100
the place
yards.
I would. And 6 of them in a casino, and yeah,
Right.
yeah, no, there's no reason.
But
That is not where I would. That's not where I would build a bar.
Right. But so so even now, that narrative for me is still, I will not be with anyone who does not, get what I do. You have to understand what I do. So you have to be a spiritual individual in some way. And you have to be in your divine masculine in order to enter my divine feminine. Because what I don't want is to have to be the masculine in control in the relationship. I don't want to do that. I want someone that I feel safe and secure with, that encourages me to grow as an individual and grow in my business, because I have never had that, and it's it has to be.
Hmm. Have you done a 5x5 on a relationship in a while?
Huh?
Have you done a 5x5 on a relationship in a while? That was one of the assignments for this month's Odyssey, and I found it almost impossible. Like, I fucking
To do
created this
what?
shit,
I'm
and I still was
sorry.
like, ooh, that was hard. A 5x5. Remember, it's 5 physical traits, 5 emotional traits, 5 spiritual traits, 5 financial traits, and 5 wild cards. So when you're trying to manifest something, it helps you to focus
Ouch.
what you're
Why you gotta
doing.
call me
It's kind of
out
a
like
focus tool.
that? No, but I
I
probably need to do that.
I literally I did one because it was the assignment for this month. One of the assignments for this month was to do a 5x5, and I went and started doing it, and I'm like, oh crap, like this is hard. What do I want? Like, I haven't thought about this because I've been so far out of, I will figure that out when I get to where I'm going. It's been my narrative for so long.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, even creating what it is that I'm looking for was like, I don't know. Hey, Katana.
Hello, hello,
And Chelsea's here
hello.
too. Hey, look at that.
My girls came in. Hi, beautiful girls. They were just trying to call me and they were like, rude, you didn't answer. And I was like, yeah, because I'm fucking busy. You're all right, baby. You're all
Yeah,
right.
we're here. Thanks.
Yeah,
Uh,
thank you, thank you.
so yeah, it was.
I
Uh oh,
know.
she's pissed off.
I know
Well,
why.
you know what? It's better be pissed off than pissed on,
That is true.
depending.
We will talk about it when I'm done here in a few minutes. Yeah, I know why she's
So
pissed.
yeah,
It's not at
it,
me. We're okay.
no, you're okay. It was really funny though because that 5x5 was absolutely wicked to do,
I've thought a lot
and
about what I am looking for in a relationship, which is why I'm still single. I mean, I've
mhm,
tried, and I went out when I was in Vegas and I had a guy who wanted to hook up and which I really did consider, and we probably would have if he would have committed to a time, because he
mhm,
wanted me to like show up at 6 o'clock in the morning, and I'm like, I'm not that's not how this is working. We're gonna like have a date first and have a meal or something,
mhm,
and I'm not doing it. You have to earn me getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning to meet you after you got off of a graveyard shift to go fuck you, because that's
mhm,
the beginning of my day. And
mhm,
if I'm going to begin my day with dick, I already want to know that it's good dick, because what I'm not doing is getting up at 4:30 in the morning and getting ready so that I fucking look cute for you when you get off of work at 5, 6 o'clock in the morning for some mediocre fucking dick. That's not happening. It's just not. You
when
know.
it reminds me of when I was in Mississippi, and I was when I was in Mississippi, I was outside of Oxford, and I was in what they call the county. Okay, so Oxford City is where you Old Miss is,
Okay.
and so there's the city, which is basically the college, right? And then there's
Right.
the county, which are the poor folk. Okay, it really is divided. Although those houses now go for $1 million each because they're on tons of property, and it's
Right.
beautiful.
The property's more valuable than the house.
Right.
Right.
Um. So I always said that I don't drive more than 15 minutes for a blowjob. right? And
I
I
mean,
had
that's
this rule.
fair.
Right. Like it's been my rule in Michigan. If I'm driving 15 minutes to get a blowjob, there's something wrong, because there's a lot, so I don't have to worry about it. Um,
Right.
it just even even when I'm on Adrian, I don't need to drive 15 minutes. Honestly,
Right.
it's kind of ridiculous.
Oops.
E- Even the podunk. Um, and yeah, and I broke that rule once, and it was not good. And that guy calls me every so often. It's like, when are you coming back to town? I'm like, never for you.
Right.
You will never know.
I'm
I
not.
was in town. As a matter of fact, I was right there. I was right there. When on my way down and back from New Orleans, I stayed one town over from where I would have
And you're like,
stayed
I'm not available
originally.
to you.
But
Yeah.
my friend was in the hospital, so I couldn't stay there. Yeah, no, and I could have any minute of it, I
Right.
could have done it, and I'm like,
Right.
not
Exactly.
happening. But one thing about, go ahead.
No, you're fine.
So really, in order to control your narrative, okay, what we have to do is we have to focus on our integrity, okay, and integrity is not morality. I can't go into integrity right now. Um, we don't have time for me to go all the way into integrity. Watch anything else I've ever done. We need to gripe in private
And
and
him and
boast
I
in
have a
public.
different opinion about
I know
that,
that's
but
yeah. Um, you gripe in private. You boast in public. You set healthy boundaries,
yeah.
which are access to you is a privilege, not a right.
Yes. Yes.
You know,
Yes.
you don't have to be afraid to say no or restrict access.
Yeah.
And then, last but not least, you have to fuck what other people think. They don't matter, and I promise you, they're not thinking about you as much as you think they
Other
are.
people's
About her
opinions
experience the
of
other
you
day.
are none of your business. One of the best things I've ever heard. Not other
Mhm.
people's opinions of you are none of your business. And when I took that to heart, like everything changed for me. I don't give a fuck what you think about me because you're not living my life. You have not had my experiences. And I've gone through shit that most people cringe.
Mhm.
People cringe when they hear my story because I've had to deal with things that most people have not had to deal with in their life.
Right.
And if they have, it's been at a much later date in their life than what I did. You know?
Mhm.
And so, and I've been called a liar for that. I had one guy in a group say, well, that's bullshit. It does matter. And I'm like, you can think that, but it does not because they're not living your life. And, and then he literally put a meme up, liar. And I didn't even respond. And someone else goes, well, yes, it does, because if you're in a work environment and blah, 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 blah. Like, no, those people's opinion don't matter either. Because you're not going to have that job forever.
They can replace
and
you.
They're going to replace you with someone else. And if you don't like your coworkers and they don't like you, find another fucking job.
And you chose to play that game, the game of job.
Correct. Yeah.
So, therefore, you need to play the game of job.
Yeah.
Or don't play the game of job, whichever that looks like.
Right.
You know.
Okay, so I have to plug this. Where can we find you, Jeff? Give me all your stats before we do our card of the night.
Really, where to find me, go to Spiritual Sex and Candy, look at my profile. Everybody's been really stressed out about the election and everything else. What I've been finding a lot is that people are very stressed out about the election. Book a call with me where I'm doing a nice clearing call. Part of the True Desire call, but I'm kind of modifying it to really get that clear and get you to a place where you're in power instead of in fear.
Yes.
Because all the fear is not going to get us where we need to go, babe. And we don't have time for you guys to have the meltdown. We have to start now. That's what it comes down to. We have to start now.
Yeah.
And peace can only be made by those who are peaceful. So.
Yeah. You can
I am
find me
glitching
at
a lot. I see that. Thanks, Katana.
spiritualsexandcandy.com. If you would like an energy session, if you want to unload your stuff and start unpacking, and get some guidance on your journey, your healing journey, by all means, hit me up and go buy A Little Time for Peace. This is my journal that just came out. You can find it on the Amazon. It is also in the link on Spiritual Sex and Candy in my link tree. It gives you, it's a 90-day journal. It gives you prompts for the day and the night, morning and evening, whatever that looks like for you, so that you can start your day connecting with yourself and truly taking some time for yourself. So, do you want to start with the card tonight?
Mm-hmm. It's amazing. I'll start tonight. I pulled Ace of Cups. And Ace of Cups is all about letting the emotions, they're all new emotions a lot of times. And they're all, typically when you get a new emotion, it's really vibrant, right? It's really strong. It's really there. And so notice that sometimes you have to let them wash over you. You know, you don't have to actually take it in. You don't have to actually drink all that shit. You don't have to drink the Kool-Aid. You don't have to drink the fear. You don't have to drink the anger. You don't have to drink it all. You have to let it wash over you and let it go.
Yeah. I love that. And of course, our cards coincide in some way. And mine is embrace the dark, shine your true light upon earth. Right? And, you know, your dark parts of yourself and what you've been through are a part of who you are. And don't be afraid to show that part of yourself and be honest with yourself about the things that you have gone through, because when you make room for it, that is where you really are doing the work and allowing yourself to be your authentic self, because you take off all of the shit that you have put on yourself about other people's judgments, where you've been, what you've gone through, all of those things. It's time to embrace that part of yourself and keep shining, baby. Keep shining. Thank you guys for all coming and hanging out with our 26th episode. I can't believe we've done 26 of these bitches. We love you.
It's crazy.
Thank you for coming and hanging out.
Love you.
Bye.
Have a great one, guys.
See you next week.
Everyone here at the True Awesome Network asks you to please subscribe, like, comment, and spread awesome.